The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black First Brothers. I am your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you do not miss out on any future content. Also, if you would please leave a like and share this on your various social media platforms, that really does help the reach and growth of the channel. You guys have really been helping. We've been gaining a lot of subscribers in a very fast rate. So thank you all for everything that you guys are doing. Now, I know I said before that I'm going to switch the schedule and I'm going to start premiering and going live at 6 o'clock. But you know, I'm still transitioning into that. So I got a little bit caught up. So that's why we're here now, but we're here nonetheless. This was the original time, you know, I normally would be on. Shout out to, let me see. Our sister Royal Me is in here. We have, Balek Space Age B1 to you. Our brother Torian is in here. Our brother Blacklight Revelations is in here. Our sister Cynthia is in here. We got like 30 people in here already. Okay, we have our sisters Phoenix, Miss Phoenix. So we got brothers and sisters in here already. What happened with the sale? It was an issue going on with the 25% off sale, so they didn't actually launch that. We couldn't get launched for the first. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the 25% off on the last day of February. That's Tuesday. That's Tuesday. The 28th is the last day. But right now we have a 15% off for the rest of the week until Tuesday. So if you go, the link is in the bio, you go there, 15% off all merchandise. Okay. So that's the cups and the mugs and all that stuff, and the shirts, of course. So you guys have that as well too. Now, I didn't necessarily, I'm looking at the screen because I'm about to pull some stuff up. I didn't necessarily want to do this early because I felt like there was some more stuff that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to kind of wait and see. But there's a lot of details about the Tyre Nichols case that came out. Now, when I did my original video, I dropped it the second they were actually charged, and I was just doing a comparison between how they are charged and then how the white cops are charged. There was a white officer who was tasing him and beating him. Now he's been fired, but I don't think he's been charged as of yet. I was looking that up right before I got on, and he has not been charged yet. So I'm going to keep my eye out for that. But I want to show you guys this real quick. This doesn't really have too much to do with the overall subject, but I feel it's important. So I want to show it to you guys real fast. Okay. Now this is let me make sure I can pull myself up. This is the same police department. They call themselves like the Phoenix. I was about to say the Phoenix Force, the Phoenix Unit. And this is another case. This is a 19-year-old. 19-year-old recalls encounter with the Scorpion Squad. So I'm gonna play this real quick.
Trying to be scared, but I was scared.
All eyes are on the Memphis Police Department Scorpion Unit after the death of Tyre Nichols. Now, more people who say they were also the victims of overly aggressive officers assigned to that unit are coming forward.
Tonight, WREG's April Thompson spoke with a 19-year-old who says he was stopped while just walking down the street.
Maurice Chalmers Stokes prefers not to show his face out of fear of retaliation, but he is very forthcoming about what happened.
Just off of that alone, I'm going to say they did that bogus. That was bogus how they did that young man. Okay. He said he didn't want to show his face because he didn't want, you know, of course, the police department to retaliate against him. So what they're going to do, and he's 19 years old, mind you, what they're going to do is they're going to say his whole name. They gave this man's full name, his first, middle, and last name. Okay. They're blurring his face out, as you're gonna see, but they gave his full name. The second I saw that, I was like, okay, that's bogus as hell. And that's not the only shade that they throw to this little, or I'm not gonna call him little kid, but this young man.
To him the evening of October 1st.
Let me take it back.
Overly aggressive officers assigned to that unit are coming forward.
Tonight, WREG's April Thompson spoke with a 19-year-old who says he was stopped while just walking down the street.
Maurice Chalmers Stokes prefers not to show his face out of fear of retaliation, but he is very forthcoming about what happened to him the evening of October 1st, 2022.
I was not trying to be scared, but I was scared.
He says he was walking down Chelsea Avenue near University Street when unmarked cars started following him. Those inside had on ski masks.
They hopped out and bomb rushed me. I was like, let me take your backpack. Don't try to run.
But he ran out of fear.
I ended up taking off running. I had bounced off a gate. When I bounced off the gate, I hit my head on the gate. I didn't know who they was. They was in unmarked cars, like regular cars like us. So I'm not thinking, y'all know police officers out top anyway. I'm already scared for my life.
He would soon learn those chasing him were police. This affidavit says the officers were assigned to MPD's Scorpion Team 1. On that team, 4 officers who've been in the spotlight over the killing of Tyre Nichols, Detectives D. Haley, D. Mills, and T. Bean. The same officers now fired and charged in the Tyre Nichols case. And also P. Hemphill, who is still under investigation. Chalmers Stokes says he had to speak out when he realized what happened, especially when he realized Demetrius Haley was one of the officers who caught him.
When he grabbed me by my backpack, he pushed me to the gate again, cut my head up. Demetrius, when he flipped me over, he acted like he was going to punch me.
Chalmers Stokes says he was never told why police were chasing him, and he complained about his head injury, but got no attention. His attorney, Andre Wharton, says the glare of the Tyre.
This is totally unreasonable.
They played
the same
a little
thing happened
bit.
to Tyre Nichols.
The reason why I skipped that is because they played a little bit of the actual police footage of them beating Tyre, and I didn't want to show that, so I skipped it so you guys know.
That happened.
I don't. If y'all don't want to see it, I don't want to show it.
And he
I don't want to show it
questions
anyway.
discrepancies, he says, are in the police report that officers filled out.
With the medical attention, Maurice refusing medical attention, that did not happen. I don't know why that was put in there.
Now they hope to talk to city officials about this case too.
We don't want this to happen to somebody else. And so he sought counsel, and we're looking at exploring all means, including the internal affairs investigation.
April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
Now, Maurice Chalmers Stokes was charged with theft of property after a stolen gun was found in his backpack following that stop. Wharton is not representing him on that criminal charge and says the stop itself was still unwarranted and without cause.
At Bob Richard.
Okay. So, did you see that last bit of shade that they threw? And to answer your question, Blacklight Revelations, I haven't been on Twitter too much today. I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna see if I can find it. But after this, I'm gonna look that up to answer your question. But you see the fact that after now, his gun charge, the alleged, because we don't know, innocent until proven guilty, but the alleged gun that he stole or whatever had nothing at all to do with why they stopped him. So it was nothing but shade that's thrown for, first off, mentioning his full name, which they did twice. They mentioned his full name twice, barely covered him up. They blurred his face a little bit, but you can still see his hair. It's not like they completely blacked him out. Now, when they do it with when they do, like, you see like the late night shows, they have them all the way backed up in the shadow. You can't see anything but the person's silhouette, and then they got a voice changer and all that stuff. They didn't do none of that with him. They just blurred his face a little bit and gave his full name out there. Okay. And then towards the end, they're going to say, oh, well, he did have a gun charge. You know, he is being charged with a gun. So that has absolutely nothing to do. They throwing shade towards him for actually being brave enough to come out and say anything against the cops. That's the way I'm taking that. because whether he did that or whether he did not do that has absolutely nothing to do with the situation at hand. If he did allegedly take something he wasn't supposed to, and they didn't know that, them using that he stole something, they can't, because they stopped him for no reason. They stopped him and beat him up in an unmarked car. And clearly this goes to show that this Scorpion unit has been terrorizing the black citizens in Memphis for a long time now. This isn't no one-off incident. This isn't that. So when people say the situation with Tyre Nichols was personal, which based off of how intense the video was, it seems like a bit of that was personal. It seems like that's a lot for somebody you just randomly met one day, a complete stranger. It seems like that video is very extreme for someone you do not know at all. You have no sort of issues with, you just beating this random person to death. That's too far. I'm not saying that because there was allegations that he was like, I guess one of the cops had a girlfriend or a wife or something, and Tyre was talking to her or something like that. Even though I looked that up, some of that's been denied. So I don't know what's really the case with that. So it might be personal, but I don't know. And I can't say something is personal just because it might look like that. But it does look like it's personal. But regardless of that, you see this, the situation with the 19-year-old brother, you have multiple cases where this Scorpion team, Scorpion squad has been going around terrorizing people. So they're just out of hand in general. Okay. They're just really out of hand in general. Let me show you guys this clip. Let me take this off the screen though. Let me see. Exactly. He had no reason to stop him in the first place. If you have no reason, legally speaking, if you have no reason to stop somebody and you stop them and you find something, you look in their backpack, you find a gun, you find some money or drugs or something like that, you can't really do anything with that because you are not supposed to stop him. Like, if you can arrest him, of course. When they go to trial, the defense attorney is going to be like, okay, well, you stopped him for no reason. That's racial profiling, which is allegedly illegal. So you can't do that in the first place. So you kind of have to throw all of that evidence out because you got that evidence outside of a legal means. That's the way it's supposed to work. I'm sure there's many cases where it hasn't worked that way, but that is the way it is supposed to work. Okay. So let me show this clip. Now we get into like the actual subject of the video. Let me zoom in like a little bit. Okay. Pulling this up real quick. You can only get one tab at a time. So that's why I got to close one out to, damn, come on, man. What is this? Okay, there we go.
After the video was released, he put out a link. Biden reacted really emotionally. Hear them say that he brought up his.
What's going on?
Biden reacted really emotionally after the video was released. He put out a lengthy statement about 30 minutes after it went live. And I want to read you a line of it because it is really quite strong language. The president said, like so many, I was outraged and deeply pained to see the horrific video of the beating that resulted in Tyre Nichols' death. It is yet another painful reminder of the profound fear and trauma, the pain and the exhaustion that Black and Brown Americans experience every single day. Now, that last line about the exhaustion, that's a profound line from President Biden, really acknowledging in some way the over-policing that a lot of the Black and Brown people in Memphis consistently face, really sometimes on a daily basis. Now, the White House had said to reporters throughout the day that the president or no one in the White House had seen the video ahead of time. Obviously, by 7 p.m. that had changed. But what they were doing were trying to do meaningful things to show that this issue was on on the top of President Biden's mind. And now that also included a call that he made to the family of Tyre Nichols during the day. We got a little bit of ability to see into that because a Washington Post reporter was actually in the room and shared some of it online. But I think what's really interesting about this video we're going to play in just a second is the fact that oftentimes when President Biden is consoling families, we hear them say that he brought up his own trauma of his first wife and baby daughter dying all those years ago. But here we actually get to see it. Take a listen.
On your comments today were moving. I don't know how you did it with Rodney. I know Tyree's dad is devastating.
Yes, sir.
I know people say that to you, but I do know. I lost my son in the war, the consequence of the war in Iraq, being there a year. I lost my daughter when a tractor trailer broadside and killed my wife and daughter. And I don't know how you stood there. I didn't have the courage to do what you did.
No, okay. Get this off the screen. Okay, y'all saw that. I'm sorry, I gotta unblock some of the things in the chat room because it's messed up. Okay. I wish I could like kind of circle it back and go. First off, no, I'm not even gonna do that because now it's tripping. The thing is that the number one thing, and you guys called it out in the chat room, and you guys are correct for that, the black and brown. Memphis is not a black and brown thing. This situation is not a black and brown situation. This is a black situation. This is because of anti-blackness. This is not no black and brown there. Oh, what about the black and brown people in Memphis? Memphis is almost 70% black, and then the other 30% is white. Okay, so there's not like a lot of brown people. When they say brown, they mean Latino. There's not like a lot of Latino people in Memphis anyway. And Biden is doing this for a publicity stunt because he's not going to actually do anything that's going to bring about any tangible change in the situation. What Biden does is he capitalizes off of this. So he makes sure all of the cameras are around. I want you guys to peep that. All of the cameras are around. Okay. And then you got Ben Crump right up next to the mom holding the phone. This I wish I could show it. Let me see if I can find it again. Because I was just looking at it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it right back up again. Because I want you guys to see how Ben Crump is damn near sitting in the mom's lap. And I'm gonna talk about the mom a little bit later too, because there's some things that she's done or doing, and I'm not feeling that. Okay. So I'm waiting on that app. Ben Crump is holding the phone on speakerphone, and Joe Biden is waiting for CNN to record. Oh, my son died in Iraq, and you're so strong. And look, okay, I got it. It's right here. Let me pull this up. Okay, if I can pull it up.
Devastating.
Yes, sir.
I know people say that to you, but I do
like,
know. I lost
okay.
my son in the war.
Listen,
I know Tyree's dad.
He does not have to hold
Yes,
the
sir.
phone.
I know people say that to you, but
He got the phone in her hand, and he has the phone in his hand.
The war in Iraq, being there a year.
Did you got? Okay. All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. Did y'all see the funeral? Because we got to talk about the funeral now. Did y'all see the funeral? Is the mom off code? I'm not gonna say the mom is off code. That's a good question. But there were some things that I saw that I was like, I'm gonna let y'all see, because maybe I was overreacting. Okay, I might have been overreacting, but this was them at the funeral. Let me pull this up. I'm not gonna say I was overreacting, but maybe I'm seeing it differently. Okay. I don't want to, and I understand your son went through that. It's hard, you know. I get it. But I'm just this right here. Now the father just gave his speech, and now it's time for the mother. And you see Ben Crump is right there. I'm telling you, anywhere there's a camera, Ben Crump will be there. This man is damn near handcuffed to anywhere the spotlight is going to be. I want you guys to see this, and I want to know if you guys see what I'm seeing. I'm not even going to say anything at first. I'm just going to play it, and I just want you guys to see what I see, and then I'm going to kind of circle it back, okay? All right. It's like right here, okay?
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to pay tribute to my son. Tyre was a beautiful person, and for this to happen to him is just unimaginable. I promise you the only thing that's keeping me going is the fact that I really truly believe my son was sitting here on an assignment from God.
There go Ben Crump, man. He getting his camera time.
And I guess now his assignment is done and he's been taken home. I want to thank, yes.
Okay, so are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? I hope I know I'm not the only one noticing that. Okay. Yeah, okay. It says even more. Yeah, okay. This dude is the attorney. Okay. He is the attorney for the case. When the family is up there, this is the funeral. This man does not need to be right up next to the family in every single this, and this is the case every single time Ben Crump has any type of case. Anywhere the family goes, Ben Crump is like shoulder to shoulder with the family. This man is shoulder to shoulder every single time. He's not. I can see the other clip. I could maybe see the other clip because they were actually talking about the case. But at the funeral, when they're giving their eulogy, I think it's pronounced right. He's sitting up there. He's right there. Why is your lawyer right there? Shouldn't you be, maybe you and your husband? I get that, but shouldn't that be the two of you guys? But what I don't like about the mom, and I'm gonna play it again, and now I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna play it again, and I'm gonna stop it when I get to the part that I'm not feeling. I'm okay.
My son was sitting to him. It's just one of you for coming out to pay tribute to my son. Tyre was a beautiful person, and for this to happen to him is just unimaginable. I promise you the only thing that's keeping me going is the fact that I really truly believe my son was sitting here on an assignment from God.
Okay, y'all gonna call me. Yeah, apparently that's the stepdad. I guess that's the stepdad because that's why they got their last name as well. So I guess that's not his biological dad. That's his mom, and then she got remarried, and that's why. Okay, but he kept his biological dad's last name. That's why their last names are different. Okay, I'm not. Listen, we talk about crying, okay, and how when somebody is genuinely crying, you can tell that that person is genuinely crying. There are some people who can act like they're crying, and then there's some people who completely cannot act like they're crying. So what they do when they know they're supposed to cry, and this is the same thing Kyle Rittenhouse did. This is the Kyle Rittenhouse cry. The same thing that he did is that they make really ugly faces. They like squint their faces as much as they can, to make it seem like they're crying. and they kind of move around a lot, so you can't kind of get a good look at their face, and they make they do a lot of sniffing. Notice they do it like, and he was my son, and God. I'm like, that's it. And no disrespect, because I understand she probably might be hurt, but let me just play it to you guys, because I'm looking at like that don't look like no genuine mother grieving over her son. Look at it. Just picture what I just said, and now look at this, and then look at it comes off it. Oh my God. She's wiping no tears. There are no tears the whole time. There's not a single tear that fell from her face. And I understand, I guess you can cry without tears. I guess. They love doing the thing with the napkins. They love doing the thing with the napkins because they know they can't produce tears. Doing that is difficult, to fake and produce tears. You have to really cry to do that, okay? So they can't produce tears, and they know it's going to make their crying look fake. So they have a napkin, and every 2 seconds, they're drying their eyes so it can help sell the illusion as to why there's no tears on their face, okay? This is just what I noticed, okay? Now let's look at the mom.
I promise you, the only thing that's keeping me going is the fact that I really truly believe my son was sent here on an assignment from God.
Yes, ma'am.
And I guess now his assignment is done, and he's been taken home. I want to thank, yes. I want to thank all the community activists for being there for my family. I want to thank.
We don't gotta play the whole thing, but yeah, y'all seeing this, y'all seeing what I'm seeing, and Sage is right. It is given, and shout out to our brother Sage. It's given fake. This is given performative, and I'm not saying that she's not sad. She probably is sad, but what the way it's coming off to me, and this is because of the way I know when every single time Ben Crump gets involved in some type of case where there's a police brutality and the person winds up dying, this happens almost every single time. Okay, he gets to the mom, specifically the mom. All of the cameras point to the mom. The mom does the, oh my God, he was so, they don't mention no race, they don't mention white supremacy, they don't mention nothing. That, oh my God, he was just an angel, and he's sitting up there handcuffed to her shoulder. He's sometimes closer to her than her husband is, and looking at it, and she's doing the most, and she's crying because they know the bigger bag is gonna come if she's sitting up there weeping and pouting and moping and all that stuff. That's what it's looking like to me. This is the funeral, and they got their supposed attorney up there while they're trying to give their final words before they bury their son, and they got the attorney sitting next to him like he's a member of the family. Okay, you wouldn't even, if that's the mom, the only person I can even think that would be up there with the mom is the dad. That is it. The mom and the dad. You wouldn't even have your uncles or aunties or grandma. You wouldn't even have them up there. So why are you having your attorney up there? That's just, I don't know. It didn't look right. It did not look right to me. Now, that wasn't the only thing that was going on in this funeral. This funeral was, to be honest, a mess. This funeral was a big mess. So, everybody is trying to capitalize off the funeral. Joe Biden is trying to call the family on live television. Let him tell it. He doesn't know he's live. He's like, oh, y'all just so strong and the black and brown. And yeah, he's trying to do that. He's trying to get some publicity out of this because, you know, what Joe Biden does is he likes to go places and take photo ops instead of actually doing things tangible for the family. But in this case, he was too busy to take a photo op. So he just decided to call. You know what I'm saying? So that will do. And he made sure the cameras got there before he called. He didn't call before the cameras got there and started rolling. He called after the cameras were there, the lights were set up and everything. It's just a coincidence, though. But this is what Al Sharpton had to say. Okay? Pay attention because it's coming up real quick. He's going to say it one time, and then that's going to be it.
That's why I'm still marching. Yeah. Yes, I got books out. Yes, I got a TV show, but I'm a mountain climber. I'm not going to stop till I get to the top.
Let me take that back because that was it. He says, yes, I got books out. Yes, I got a TV show. Nigga, you at a funeral. This is a funeral. Talk about saying advertising in bad taste.
That's why I'm still marching. Yeah. Yes, I got books out. Yes, I got a TV show, but I'm a mountain climber.
Listen. This is them just purely trying. They don't give a damn about our brother Tyre Nichols. This is them. Everybody, it seems, trying to capitalize off of what happened. Everybody is getting out there. Everybody's sitting up there talking about, oh my God, look at the family. Ben Crump, he is glued to the mom. You know what I'm saying? And this is a civil case. He's not a criminal attorney. He's a civil attorney. Okay, so this is the civil case. But you see how the mom, and this is like the formula every single time he gets attached to a family. The mom does a whole bunch of crying. Oh my God, he was an angel. He was sent by God. And oh my God. And all of the crying and the performance and all that stuff. Al Sharpton comes out. Oh my God, he was talking about what makes this so bad is because these were 5 black cops and all that stuff. And I talk about this on my TV show that airs Tuesday at 8 p.m. Like, dude, nobody's buying your book. If his book was selling, he would not have to advertise it at a funeral. That's just not a good time to advertise your book or your TV show. I know I'm a mountain climber, and I talk about that in volume 2 of my book, Al Sharpton, sold on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Dude, that's sad. That is sad. Now, there's more sad characters. Now we got to get to Kamala. Find her clip up. Where was that one at? Where is that one? Is that one right here? Where's Kamala's clip? I'm trying to find her. Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. Now she says a whole bunch of stuff, but nobody's seen Kamala in a while. People thought she was missing. People were sending the canines out for her and everything. I'm gonna skip to about like 3-ish minutes in here. It's somewhere in here, right?
So when we talk about public safety, let us understand what it means in its truest form. Tyre Nichols should have been safe. That's right. That's right. So I'll just close by saying this. I was, as a senator, as a United States Senator, a co-author of the original George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And as Vice President of the United States, we demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it. And we should not delay, and we will not be denied. It is non-negotiable.
So she got out there and she started talking about the George Floyd and Policing Act, which was the main thing she got out there for. They sent her out there so you guys know, they all have a script. They're not saying this off the top of their head. They all have a script. Then she goes out there, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. I'm gonna play it one more time as I get this stuff up. Now, when she was a senator, she was defending cops. She was against cops having body cams. The thing is that she feels like that's so long ago, people forget, which is why it's very important for us to keep receipts and for us to remember exactly what happened. She defended when cops brutalized black people when she was in California. She had an issue with cops having body cams and mandatory body cams. That was back years ago, before body cams was like a big thing. Now most cops pretty much have body cams. But before that, she was against cops having body cams. She was defending cops. She was ignoring cases of police brutality, all of that stuff going on. She was locking black people up for pretty much anything and then throwing away the key. She was keeping them there longer than their sentence because she needed them to put out the forest fires. She needed their labor, their prison labor, which is pretty much slave labor because they don't have a right to deny it. She needed them to do that. Okay, now she wants to get up here and she wants to talk about, oh, when I was senator with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, that act didn't come till 2021. So that's just a lie. She just be telling lies and figure that everybody around is too dumb to notice. That act nobody was coming up with that act until 2021 when she was already VP. That she ain't have nothing to do with that as a senator at all. Listen to it again.
So I'll just close by saying this. I was, as a senator, as a United States Senator, a co-author of the original George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And as Vice President of the United States, we demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it. And we should not delay, and we will not be denied. It is non-negotiable.
Okay. All right. So I took the liberty of actually Googling the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. So I'm going to show that to you guys. The print is very small, so you guys got to be patient with me because I'm going to read it off to you guys. It is very small. I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger. You know, let me see if I can make it a tad bit bigger, but this is small. Okay, this is it. The whole act right here. Okay. Zoom in and get a little bit closer. Now it starts off saying, and y'all can Google this yourself. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just I'm gonna copy it. Oh no, that's not what I meant to do. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna just copy it and I'll give y'all the link to it. Eventually. Something. I don't know. It says this bill addresses a wide range of policies and issues regarding policing practices and law enforcement accountability. It increases accountability. The word they say it increases accountability. Let them tell it. Police are already accountable. What does it that when they say things like it increases accountability? Oh my God, that's so great. What does that mean? This whole thing, I'm just giving you guys a warning. This whole thing is so vague. You don't know what that means. All of the things that are in this act are already in the criminal justice system today. This isn't introducing anything new whatsoever. They use vague words like it increases, it enhances, it enhances to what? And then who oversees the fact that this is going to be enhanced and applied? I'm just off the second sentence. It says it increases accountability for law enforcement misconduct, restricts the use of certain policing practice. What does certain policing practice mean? You don't know. They ain't gonna say it. Just certain policing practices, enhances transparency and data collection. Okay, that's cool. And establishes best practices and training requirements. Well, we don't know what that means, but it establishes that, so that's cool, I guess, too. The bill enhances existing enforcement mechanisms to remedy violations by law enforcement. Okay. Among other things, it does the following, and then that's when the bullet points come up. Okay. Lowers the criminal intent standard form willful to knowing or reckless to convict a law enforcement officer of misconduct in the federal prosecution. So what that's the saying is that for you to say they have criminal intent, the standard is they have to know what they're doing. Now it's otherwise they would, that's kind of like the difference between manslaughter and second degree, pretty much. Okay. Now it says it lowers the standard to willfully knowing, or they have to know what they're doing, or reckless, or being reckless. Okay. So this is weird. I can't even explain it because it's weird. This is already on the books now. Okay. Let's get to the next one. Okay. You're right. Black to black. This is full of wordplay, word salad, a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo in here. Is just enhancing and increasing and restricting, and no word banning. The word ban is not in this. The word ban is not in this. No sort of penalty is in this. Now, when Joe Biden, when he was talking about the 94 crime bill, he had very specific things that he was going to do to enforce that. He was talking about the 3 strikes, all of that stuff. He was talking about you do this, you're going to go to jail for these many years. It was very specific. Now, when Joe Biden wants to lock black people up, his bill is very word for word specific. Now, when it comes to the George Floyd Policing Act, you don't know what this is supposed to do. Let me get to the second bullet point, okay? It says limits qualified immunity as a defense to liability in a private civil action against a law enforcement officer, and grants administrative subpoena power to the Department of Justice in a pattern or practice investigation. This is just babble. This is what it is. This is so vague. It gives them power to subpoena what and all of this. And this is what she's talking about. This is what we need to sign. Now, let me ask you guys, if they was to get this passed, because this already passed the House, but it hasn't passed the Senate, right? If it was to pass the Senate, if Congress was to get this to be passed, would this have saved Tyre Nichols? Do you think this would have saved Tyre Nichols? Before you answer that, let me finish reading it to you guys, because there might be something that I might have missed. Let me read you guys the whole thing. Okay, it's not much, but let me read it. Okay, it says it establishes a framework to prevent and remedy racial profiling by law enforcement in federal, state, and local levels. Okay. It establishes a framework to prevent and remedy racial profiling. What does that mean? Continuing, it also limits the unnecessary use of force and restricts the use of no-knock warrants, chokeholds, and cardiac holds. Okay? Police already can't do chokeholds. Police already can't do chokeholds. And then it says it limits. It doesn't say it bans. And remember, I said it does not. The word ban does not come up here. It limits the unnecessary use of force and restricts. It doesn't say ban. It restricts the use of no-knock warrants. Okay. And as we're continuing, the bill creates a national registry, the National Police Misconduct Registry, to compile data on complaints and records of police misconduct. They're already supposed to have that. Okay, this bill shouldn't be what makes that happen. They're already supposed to have that, but apparently they don't. It also establishes new reporting requirements, including on the use of force, officer misconduct, and routine policing practices. And then that stops and searches. That's not new. None of what is in this bill is new whatsoever. What they're trying to sell you on the fact that this has the name George Floyd. That's what they're trying to sell you on. And they're trying to get the, like, oh, if we had the George Floyd Policing Act, then it would have worked. He wouldn't have died if they had the George Floyd Policing Act. Then finally, reading this off, finally, it directs DOJ to create uniform let me see. I gotta really zoom into that word. The print is very small. Uniform accreditation standards for law enforcement agencies and requires law enforcement officers to complete training on racial profiling, implicit bias, and the duty to intervene when other officers use excessive force. That's, first off, officers are already supposed to intervene when another officer is doing anything they're not supposed to be doing. Okay, that's why you saw a whole bunch of those officers get locked up, the 5 officers from Memphis. Like I'm saying, this stuff is not introducing anything new. It's saying complete training on racial profiling. What? Training on racial profiling? Police are not supposed to be racial profiling anything. This is what they're trying to sell. They're trying to repackage stuff that that's already on the books that they're just not applying. All of this sounds wonderful. I guess this is great. I suppose if it is applied, you say it creates the standard, the framework and the standard for racial profiling. What does that? What? Ain't no punishment. Ain't no jail, ain't no word ban, nothing. And this is what Kamala traveled all the way to the funeral to get up here and try to promote. They don't care about what happened. They don't care whatsoever what happened to Tyre Nichols. They're just using that for their own twisted, and I'm pulling this up real quick, their own twisted agenda. Let me play for you this. Now, it's not just the left, however. It's not just the left that are trying to use this case to their advantage. Remember, I said in my last broadcast that I did when I talked about this, I said they're going to try to say, well, they're black cops, so it's not a race thing. So none of the cases of police brutality, none of them are racial. This can't be a race thing. How is this a race thing? They're black, right? So we saw that coming and we knew that was going to come. Let me point to this case real quick, okay?
Even Barack Obama and Donald Trump.
I would just do it like that.
But these 5 officers aren't. Can they still be racist? It's hard to say because they and the victims are black. And so it presents a quandary to the left who hates cops but doesn't want to put black criminals in jail. So what do you do next? Well, you erase race, but just this once.
When will the brutality finally lead to some police reform from the ground up? Because clearly, it doesn't matter if it's a white policeman or a black policeman. It is a problem in the police and the policing itself.
So now race doesn't matter. Well, what if it didn't matter before? And you just thought it did because that's all the damn media focused on. And now perhaps all this incident did was show you that by eliminating race as a variable, and you see the real causes. That's got to be good, right? Well, hold on, because you still need your dose of racism. And now it's about who trained them. Translation, white people. That has to be it. I mean, hell, even Mike Tyson was trained by a white guy. So there's your in, race baiters. Someone else must have taught them how to behave this way. Systemic racism for the win. Van Jones writes on CNN's website that blacks aren't immune to anti-black messages. He blames self-hatred, which is bound to happen if you end up writing for CNN. I'm sorry, Van. But he claims blacks are socialized into departments that view neighborhoods as war zones, a place where rule books don't apply. So blacks are more apt to single out young black men for abuse. But the problem here is the phrase single out. Were there more choices in that neighborhood than black? Probably not. It's like bragging that you bought something for $1 at the dollar store. So if all these choices for the black cop is just black, then it's not race, just like it might have been not about race for a lot of those other cops.
And I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to play it because he has more guests on, but that's what they're trying to do now. Jade, you say who is? I don't know who he is. I do not. I honestly don't know who he is. That's my first time ever hearing this dude, this clown. Thank you. We got our brother, dark skinned brother too, for the super chat. He's facts and truth. You're speaking, my warrior brother. B1 salute to you, brother. I appreciate the $5 super chat, and I appreciate your support and you being here with us. Okay, their whole thing is, and I predicted this, they're taking a sigh of relief. They're like, oh my God, thank God they were black cops. Thank goodness they were black cops. Now we get to and I said they're going to try to use this to say this, you can't see they're black. So this is black on black crime. So that means it's not racial. So that means none of the other cops have any race. None of the cases that we see are racial whatsoever. They're not. I said that that's what they were trying to do. Okay. Now he has some guests on. Let me find out exactly when this guy starts speaking, because that guy goes on his anti-black racist rant for a while. So
when you're looking at this and you're from, I know it's hard as a Brit to talk about these things, but what do you see in this?
Well, by the way, Britain picks up this stuff from America like that.
Yeah.
No seconds flat. British commentators have been saying this is all about white supremacy and white supremacy in the policing. They do the same shtick as they get from here. I mean, the problem is this is what happens when you have a very simplistic narrative and it's false. It breaks down.
Right.
It just breaks down. If your one narrative in recent years has been white supremacy and the police, and then you have 5 black cops killing a black guy, you've got to say, still white supremacy.
Yes.
And, some people will go along with that, but not many, I reckon. I mean, there were 30 people shot in Chicago last weekend, mainly black people shot by other black people. Was that also white supremacy?
I just gotta say, they love bringing up Chicago. It's every single situation where we talk about racism and white supremacy is, well, Chicago, though. Chicago, what happened with Chicago? Chicago. This situation wasn't in Chicago. Nobody was in Chicago and has anything to do with this situation, so they shouldn't be bringing up Chicago. But they always use Chicago as a look how animalistic and violent black people are. But you guys are focused on non-black people, okay? And this guy is not even from America, and he's bringing up Chicago. So you already know that's just their talking point. I don't know why it like shrinks every time I pause it, but that's just what this does. I don't know.
Have to pretend it was. Look at what the police. And then you have 5 black cops killing a black guy. You've got to say, still white supremacy.
Yes.
And, some people will go along with that, but not many, I reckon. I mean, there were 30 people shot in Chicago last weekend, mainly black people shot by other black people. Was that also white supremacy? I suppose we'll just have to pretend it was. Look at what the president said the other day, meant to be the great uniter of this country. He says, once again, this is, that I'm so tired of seeing, so exhausted, he said, so exhausted black people are seeing people killed on camera. But as you say, I mean, you could, if you wanted, pick this stuff out. You can find Tony Timper being killed online.
Right.
If you want to watch white people being beaten up by cops, you can find it. It's just we don't go on about it.
Yeah.
And I just hope that this is one more nail in the coffin for this idea that the main thing in America on everything is white supremacy. It's not true. It's always been a smear of this country. It's gone on for years. It got gas-fueled in recent years. And this is really time to stop. the world is more complicated than this simplistic left-wing narrative.
Excellent. Yeah. No.
I want Douglas's wish to be true, but I know that's going to hurt your white supremacist newsletter that you put out in that little apartment above your garage.
It's an email.
It's
All
an
right,
yes,
stick with me.
No. You think that they're monitoring your email, so you just do the newsletter.
Just do an old school snail mail.
Yes.
He's kidding, by the way. Some people are like, where do I sign up? You know what I mean? No, it's crazy. But the whole narrative, this anti-cop narrative, is how we got here. We've been trashing cops, you know, since 2020, and it drove most qualified candidates away from the gig. You know, and that's the bigger issue here, is we demonize the noble profession. When I was in first grade, when you were in first grade, if you would have asked every kid in the class what they wanted to be when they grew up, half the boys would have said cop, half the boys would have said fireman. Nowadays, half the boys would have said girl, and the other half would have said drag queen. I mean, that's where we'd be. But this is
There's nothing wrong with
nothing
that.
wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
all.
That's my other newsletter. Stick
Yes.
with me. But we drove the good people away from the job, and that's really the bigger problem, is when you
Now, their narrative now is to say, this is a hiring issue because we were just so hard on cops. Cops couldn't take the pressure, so all the good cops left. Now that's their argument. All of the good cops left the force. And Professor Black Truth talked about this earlier this morning in his moment of truth. There was not no huge mass exodus of police officers nationwide. That's not what happened. That's their narrative, that there's been, oh my God, you're so hard on the cops. They don't want to be cops anymore. Listen, okay? That's not what, first off, statistically speaking, that's not what happened. And then two, the reason why people got so hard on the cops, and not good cops, just cops in general, is because of what happened with George Floyd in 2020. So with that argument, all of the cops in there was just this flood of good cops in 2020, when you've had a whole bunch of police murder, you had a whole bunch of misconduct, police torture, you had Rodney King, all of that stuff, and that was before we were hard on cops. Their narrative is to say it's not white supremacy, it's just a cop thing, and all we have is bad cops because you guys ran off the good cops. It's your fault that happened to them. We didn't run anybody off. None of the good cops left because, oh my God, the pressure of being a cop. That's not what happened. A lot of what happened was that rules got more strict on police officers, and they couldn't do what they wanted to do, so they left the force and they went to doing other stuff. That's really what happened. Before we continue, let me give a shout out to the $10 super chat, Preach Young Brother from Antithesis. I appreciate your $10 super chat. I sincerely do. Thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. And then another $10 super chat from our brother Iron Will, saying Afro Elite, keep up the great work. Fox News is a bunch of clowns. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, they are. Actually, I'm gonna play this another clip, because he goes on and they laugh and they try to do this as comedians. They say they're comedians and this is supposed to be a funny talk show and all of that, because they get to say a bunch of racism and then be like, it was a joke, it was a joke, it was a joke. They do that, okay? So I guess he attempts to do that. I'm gonna play this last one though. Hold on. No, that's not what I meant to do. Pressing the wrong button or clicking the wrong thing. Check this out. And this is from, who is this guy? What was this guy's name? Peer something. Look at this clip. And I told you, and I said it, these people are going to try to spin the narrative of, oh, this is not about racism. They're loving it. Piers Morgan, that's his name. Piers Morgan. So check this out.
And rapper and podcaster Zuby. Welcome to both of you. Iman, I don't get this narrative at all that is coming out. It's been coming here from people as well, that somehow this is all about racism of white supremacy. It's not. It's about 5.
You said, do I have Monterey? I do. My Monterey's are not in the chat right now, it seems. I need my mods to come on here. Either that or I need to make somebody a mod. Yeah, I need to get some more mods, actually. Let me see. My mods were in here. They just don't stay. Let me see. Black Lord, I thought you were. He's been a mod. I don't know why he's not a mod. Let me see. Okay. Sage, you said mod you up. I got you. I got you, Sage. Okay. Yeah, I guess we're getting promotions today. Folks becoming mods.
Poorly trained, thuggish black police officers killing a black man who did nothing to deserve it. That's it.
Okay, so I just have to start with saying that video was absolutely disgusting. One of the worst videos I've ever seen in my entire life.
And it goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it was disgusting. There was two versions of it: the body footage, and of course the pole from across the road. Absolutely disgusting. So I'm absolutely horrified at the fact that, of course, it was 5 black people. But for me personally, this is about an abuse of power and a disregard of human life, and those individuals need to be accountable for their actions. That I need to.
Don't disagree. What's it got to do with racism and white supremacy?
So people
why are
also,
white people responsible for this?
Okay, so people could also argue that this is due to internalized racism, which is a byproduct of societal or institutional racism, also referred to as white supremacy.
So black police officers become white supremacist racists who kill black people because they work in an atmosphere of white supremacy. Is that it?
I can explain it a little bit better. Okay, so anti-blackness is baked into society here and in the US, and black people are not impervious to that. And so what people fail to realize—
So black people are anti-black?
Yep, this exactly. So let me explain it. I know it's very confusing. So let me explain it. Let me explain it, Piers. So what people fail to realize is that when black people have to contend with racism, they can end up internalizing it. And that can result in low self-esteem, self-loathing, and rejection of one's community. And when you combine those feelings, which, as we know, are also referred to as unconscious bias, when you have those feelings and they are compounded by hierarchy and power, it can lead to an individual abusing said power and projecting their self-hate onto another. And this is why, in my opinion, why we see black and white police officers killing more black people than we do white. Reason why is because of racism, which includes internalized racism, Piers.
Right. I think that's complete nonsense.
You would, because you're a white man and you don't understand.
Exactly. I'm white, therefore my skin color means I have...
Because you don't have the lived experience.
Listen, okay. Now, pausing that, because I'm going to fast forward a little bit, because they bring an officer on, right? So I'm going to fast forward that a little bit, but I'm going to say it is white supremacy, and why is white supremacy is because, let me take this off first. That is because of the fact that as we know, the police force, and I've talked about this before, the police force is originated from slave catchers. Okay, that's what they were. That's not a conspiracy. That's exactly what they were. The police have naturally had an element, or has been the foundation of the police department is anti-black racism, and has always been that way. Okay, it has been the fact that you can do things. First off, you have power over society. As a police officer, you just have general power over the average everyday man and everyday woman. Most people who sign up to become the police officers, most of those people are going to be white people. They signed up. Majority of the police officers are white people. And then there is not just the self, because they saying, oh, it's self-hate, it's self-hate. Okay. There is an element in police in that not only do you have power to pretty much do whatever you want to do, there is also a bias against black people, specifically black men, young black men. Okay, because it's not like they're doing this to very old black people, but they do. But majority of the cases, they're young black men. So this is the element that is bred from that. She's not really articulating that the way I would, but that is what the situation is. And they're looking at it like, oh, they're black, so you mean there's racist black people? No, you create an environment where this occupation allows you to harm black people freely. You create an environment where this occupation promotes harming black people. And through generations, it leads up to that. So this is because of white supremacy. It absolutely is because of that. Let me finish playing because I want to get to the other officer who's going to be popping up.
Skin color means I have nothing to do with it. All right, well, let me go to a black man and see if he's allowed to have a view. Zuby, what's your view?
Okay, so I agree with the first half of everything that was said there. I agree that the
First off, and I know I stop it a lot, and I know I say first off a lot. I know I do. I need some more ladies to be mods. I need some more ladies. Ladies, which one of y'all? I don't know if y'all want to be a mod. Which one of y'all want to be some mods? I got a lot of other brothers of mods. I need some more ladies to be mods. If y'all want to be a mod, let me know. I'm feeling generous today, I guess. But notice, I don't know if this man is under some type of spell or something like that. Why is he blinking like that? Where is he from? I don't know. Why is he? Let me take it back. Look at it. Like when he first opens up, this man does not stop blinking.
Go to a black man and see if he's allowed to have a view. Zuby, what's your view?
Okay, so I agree with the first half of everything that was said there. I agree that the video was disgusting. I agree that this is an issue of training, and I agree that this is an issue of the human heart. I think that any attempt to put the blame on this in any way, shape, or form on racism or white supremacy or white people in general is absolutely ridiculous. I also think it's pretty degrading because this sort of idea stems from the notion that Black people, Black men, Black women, that we do not have full agency and responsibility and therefore accountability for our actions and our words. We end up in these ridiculous situations where no matter the permutation, no matter what happens, even if there's not a single white person involved in the situation, in the Memphis police force, even the police, police chief.
There was a white person involved. There actually was there was multiple white people, not just the white officer who was tasing him, but also the white paramedics who didn't step in after like 20 minutes. They were just idling by for 20 minutes. Okay. But I'm just correcting him, but I'm gonna let him talk.
Is a Black woman. The large percentage of the force is Black, and people are still trying to lean on this white supremacy is the answer and the reason for everything. And honestly, it's lame. And as someone who's lived my entire life as a Black male, certainly I've never been possessed by this sort of phantom of white supremacy that's made me want to attack anybody, let alone another Black person. And I think that we need to put the blame and responsibility squarely on the individuals who were involved in this.
I completely agree.
I think it's tragic that this young man died.
Now, if you guys notice, Tucker Carlson did the same thing with who did he have on there? He had one of those Black Sambos. They do this every time. Okay, that's why the other clip was so rare, because they always find some type of coon, some Sambo. See, people are asking where he's from. I'm not sure if he's FBA. I'm not sure, and you know I don't like to jump to that conclusion, but I'm saying if I was to have a 50-50 chance, I would say no. I would say no. Just, I don't know. Just based off of him blinking so much. We don't do that. I don't know why he's doing. Jason Whitlock, thank you. Thank you. He's blinking too much to me. I don't know. It gives me like non-FBA vibes, all the blinking he's doing. Okay. But they always find some Black person, and more than likely they find a Black male that they'll get up there and be all like, well, what do you think? You're Black, right? What do you think? Is it about race? I'm like, well, I think that it's not about race. I love white people. I've never been like, yeah, they do that all the time.
I completely agree. I mean, just to note some statistics about the Memphis Police Department, that 65% of Memphis population is Black. 58% of the entire police force in Memphis is Black. The police chief was a Black woman, right? And so on and so on. So you take all that in totality, you think, well, okay, well, where is this institutionalized white supremacy coming from, given the institution is actually served predominantly by Black people for a population that is predominantly Black as well? So I don't get that point. The second point I make is this. I think there's a wider issue here. The demonization of the police in America, calling them all a bunch of vile racists, has led to many older, experienced, good police officers who are not vile racist quitting the force all over the country. And as a result,
see, and this is how you know. And thank you, Iron Will, because I didn't know where he was from. Iron Will just said he's, I guess, some wannabe rapper or YouTuber, and he's Nigerian. Okay, all right. Listen, I knew it. The blinking was just giving me non-FBA vibes. He was just doing too much with his face. He was just blinking too much. There's no he was blinking damn near the whole time. Like I don't know what. Yeah. See, and they do that. They allow some of them, because Jason Whitlock, he's FBA, but then you have the tethers too. So they'll pick and choose. Which ones they want to use, to whether they FBA or non-FBA, to come on, and they'll give them the spotlight to say, well, you're black, right? So what do you think? They'll be like, oh, well, yeah, of course. This is not about racism. Now, notice what he just said. Oh, you guys ran the good cops off. Y'all ran the good cops away. Dude, that's the same thing the other guy in the video was saying before, okay? The other guy in the video was saying, oh, you see, y'all were just so hard on cops. You ran away all the good cops. Now there's going to be their thing. That's going to be their excuse from now on, because they were doing that with if y'all defund the police, and then it was a whole bunch of cases where they were highlighting, oh my God, you see what happens when you defund the police, when you don't back the badge, when you defund the police, crime. You see all these niggers, look at them, they're criminals. And now their excuse is, oh my God, you guys were so hard. The left was so hard on the police. All of the good cops left because they were being made fun of so much that them being good cops, they didn't want to be made fun of, so they left the force. And now all of the cops are bad. So it's really y'all fault at the end of the day still. It's not just one person, it's a whole talking point that the right wing tries to use.
In Memphis, for example, they had a massive reduction, 20% between 2011 and 2017 of police officers. 20% went from the force. And
now, this is why it is very important to know all of the data in the statistics. Do you guys remember when they were trying to push out the, I'm going to do this. When they were trying to push out the venom shot, remember that? And that was mandatory for some occupations, including police officers, okay? There was a lot of protesting going on, and a lot of police officers said, I'm not going to do that. And because of that, they had to leave the force, or at least leave that department that mandated that requirement. So what they're going to do is they're just going to take all of the statistics of them leaving. They're not going to account for the reason why they left, because a lot of them left because a lot of them knew that things were getting more stricter on, like, them cracking down on the racism and stuff like that. A lot of them left, and they don't tell you this ever, but a lot of them left because they didn't want to take the you-know-what. So they left for that reason, but the media, the right-wing media, they're going to spin it like, oh my God, look at you guys were so hard and cruel to these police officers, so they had to leave. You guys were harassing them, they had to leave. That's not why they left, okay? And I just had to say that, because it's important for you to know all of the facts, because he'll just give you a number and then not give you the context to that number.
So to try and restore the numbers, they made it easier to become a police officer. They reduced the restrictions, reduced the qualifications. 2 of the 5 officers involved in killing this poor young man went through that process in that period of not being required to have the same.
This ad just popped up.
Sort of qualifications that they used to join the Memphis Police Department. So you have a bunch of people being brought in who are poorly trained, who are not qualified to do the job.
Now, okay, now that's the thing. They're bringing people in who are poorly trained, not qualified. Only 2 of them came in within the last 2 years. Okay. The other ones were on the force for a long time. Wasn't Derek Chauvin? Derek Chauvin, he was a cop for what? How long was he a cop for? He was a cop for like what, 7 years or something, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of these cops, if you're going to use the argument that these cops are just poorly trained because the requirements are so low, then what about all of the other cops before this supposed mass exodus of police? Now they bring this guy back on. I want to fast forward to bring this guy right back. They bring him back on, and after that, that's enough of his Nigerian blinking that I can take. And this isn't to say all Nigerians are like that, but you know, because you got coon FBA, you got coon non-FBA. They just coons. But I just knew it. Something was non-FBA with this guy.
An alternative perspective that should be considered, because internal racism is a real thing, so therefore it should be considered.
You just heard a black man, in a very considered way, say that basically you're talking nonsense.
No, so
the idea that you.
So I'll ask that. So Zubi, do you believe that internal racism is nonsense? Do you believe that black people cannot internalize racism? Do you believe that?
I don't believe that it's completely impossible.
Okay,
I don't think it's impossible for
You heard that, right?
I don't think it's impossible for a person of any race or ethnicity to harbor hatred or animosity towards people who may look like them or share some things in common. What I completely disagree with is the idea that in every single one of these situations, that no matter what happens, we just jump to white supremacy as the problem. We've seen this happen many, many times.
And I agree with you.
And I think one of the biggest issues with it is, I think one of the biggest issues as well is it's actually a distraction from a very important conversation, which Piers was leaning into there, which is that when it comes to the police in the USA and also in other countries, there's clearly an issue of character, qualifications,
and prejudice,
training. I don't know exactly. Yeah, and
prejudice is the foundation for all forms of discrimination, including sexism, misogyny, racism, and the list goes on. So if you have not dealt with your prejudice within an institution, it will manifest in racism. That's a fact. That's a fact.
You're talking over.
That's a fact.
I'm making a good point. But secondly, you're bringing in prejudice, bigotry, racism, none of which had anything to do with this particular incident.
What are you talking about? I just explained to you internal racism, which is based off of prejudice.
It had nothing to do with why these.
And I said it should be considered. I said it should be considered.
Well, let Zubi finish the point you were making.
Okay, okay. Even following on from that point, I'd also say this is mind reading as well. So even trying to bring racism into this conversation, let's say these guys did not have guns and badges. Let's say this was just a group of random thugs, 5 black men beating up another black man. Even in that situation, even outside the police force, I've still seen situations where people try to blame this somehow on this specter of white supremacy. And as I've said, frankly, it's embarrassing.
And as
a black person, I have just as much agency and accountability. Okay. As I said, black people have full responsibility and accountability, just like it would be ridiculous to see a video of white people beating up a white man. There are videos out there of white police beating up white people.
Well, I would also make the point
that have you seen loads of videos of
I would also, look, if I could just, on that point, I would also make the point that if people genuinely believed it was racism, then given these scenes were as horrific as the George Floyd killing, in my view, no better, no worse. I mean, this went on for a much longer period and was disgusting and abhorrent to watch. Completely innocent guy just getting beaten and then he died. Given that, if it was racism that people genuinely believe was the motivation, we would see the same scenes on the streets of cities all over America that we saw after George Floyd's death. We would see the riots. We would see burning cities. We would see that kind of intensity of reaction. But the truth is, even the people claiming this is about racism and white supremacy, they don't believe it. Because if they did believe that, they'd be out on the streets saying it. And they're not.
They are saying it. They are saying it because they do believe it.
But they're not protesting in the same way because in their heart they know it's not racism.
Okay, so I agree with you in that.
Now, and I wanted to end that on that. He's saying that the reason why people are not protesting is because we feel like this is not racism. The reason why there's no need to protest is because those 5 officers were fired and arrested immediately before the video came out. If you guys remember what happened with George Floyd, when Derek Chauvin did what he did, the video went viral. It was millions and millions of views. It was everywhere. It was viral. They fired after the video was viral, they fired Derek Chauvin and the other officers, and that was it. 3 days later, that's all they did. That's it. It was 3 days after the video went viral, and I remember specifically, I was like, "Damn, that's all. That's it." It was 3 days after that. Then that's when the whole protesting and all that stuff popped up, because we saw, okay, y'all just not gonna do nothing, so we're gonna have to do something. In this case, with the 5 officers, y'all charged them, put their names out there immediately. Y'all not doing that with everybody else. Y'all just firing them, which gives them the opportunity to go someplace else. But you guys did that with the 5. There's no need to protest for what? And there were some protests, but riot and all that stuff for what? What he's trying to do is he's trying to make it seem like y'all would do the most if this was white. If they were white, y'all would be doing the most. The thing is that we view, to me, I'm viewing, especially at this point in time, I'm viewing all police officers, y'all all suspected. Y'all all suspected. Either you're a suspected white supremacist or you're a suspected white supremacist collaborator until further notice. Until I prove otherwise, I suspect that of you. And that's just what it is, whether you're white or black or anything else. Okay. So that's the talking point that they're using. So all of this is to say that both the left side, the Democrats, Joe Biden's trying to use this for publicity. He's calling the phone after the cameras are live and recording everything. Kamala Harris trying to pull this George Floyd Policing Act, which I just read to you guys, is absolutely nothing. It's a nothing burger. Okay. Al Sharpton's trying to sell his book. Okay, he's getting out there. I got a book and a TV show, but it's not about this. But if you guys want to know, I do have a sale going on. That's what he's trying to do. Ben Crump is sitting on the mom's lap. The mom is sitting up there boo-hooing, barely can cry. Oh my God, my son and God. And you got the right wing talking about, you see, it's not a race thing. It's the fact that you guys are too hard on the police and the police left. That's what happened, you niggers. That's their side. Okay. What we need to do is we need to make sure that we stay on top of this case, because everybody should be punished in this situation. Now, I play for you guys the video of the 19-year-old brother, and they did that brother shady too. I'm still mad about how they did that brother. Okay. The 19-year-old, this shows that this Scorpion unit has been a problem for a minute, not just in this one incident. There've been a problem for a minute. So the police, the police chief, why has not she done anything about the Scorpion unit? Okay, so she needs to be held accountable. The paramedics, they've been fired, but they need to be held accountable. They need to lose their license at the very least for sitting there, because when they show up, they have the authority to tell the police to move away. And they didn't. Okay. I know some of you guys maybe not have seen the video, so you didn't see that part, but that is what happened. Okay. The white one that they tried to slide under the rug, who was tasing and saying, stop his head in and all that, he needs to be charged with them too. I don't see how he's not getting the same exact charges all 5 of them are getting, when he actually physically did something to participate in harm Tyre Nichols. He needs to be getting the same exact charges that they're getting. Okay. And all of them, to be honest, the paramedics, they need to get charges too, not just fired. They need to get charges. They need to be held, what's that thing? Held as accessories to murder. They watched it happen, or accessories after the fact, because at least he was beaten up and he was dying and they didn't do anything. And they didn't tell. They didn't snitch. They didn't tell. They didn't make a report. So all of the officers involved in that situation need to be at least accessories to murder after the fact. Accessories after the fact. That's the absolute bare minimum. Okay. I don't know if, like, when it comes to the paramedics, if you can be charged for not intervening, but if you can be, they should be. Okay. They absolutely should be. You're right, RG Titan. All 7 of them. Every single last one of them need to. So it's important for us to know the names. I'm shout out to the family for keeping up with the names of the people. It's important for us to know the names to keep up with this story, because they're going to try to say, oh, we locked them away, case over. It's not. Okay, we need to keep up with the story so we make sure that we actually avenge our brother Tyre Nichols. Okay, and we need to be, I'm gonna add this too. That 19-year-old brother, what was his name? I don't want to say his name because I know he didn't want his name out there like that. But we need to be keeping an eye out for our young brothers. Okay, that's something that as a family, our family in Memphis or whatever, we need to make sure that he's good, that he's protected. Because what happens is he'll say something and be all like, oh, we won't tell. Don't worry. We'll blur your face out. And then they'll say his whole name, put his address on the damn news and everything like that. And next thing you know, something happens to him. And they threw that last little shade in to be all like, he is a criminal. He is a criminal. So that way, when something happens to him, they can be like, well, I mean, he's a criminal. I mean, that's what happens to criminals. So we need to look out for that young brother out there. I don't know where he's from or whatever the case is, but I don't want nothing bad to happen to him, because if he feels retaliation, I'm sure he had a good reason for feeling that way. And the news set him up because they wanted to get the scoop, and then they kind of snitched on him too. So, and that was bogus on their part. So we need to make sure we look out and we, keep up with him. Now, I'm not saying follow him around and nothing crazy, but keep up with him, make sure nothing happens to him. If somebody might know him, might want to bring him on the show or whatever the case is, then that's cool. But with that being said, brothers and sisters, please make sure that you guys leave a like. Also, too, you can follow me on my social media, which is at AfroElite on Instagram and then at the AfroElite on Twitter. All right. Make sure, because YouTube is really something else right now, even though you're not supposed to say it, but because I've been going back and forth with YouTube on this. A lot of people allegedly have been telling me that they've been getting no notifications, and some of them are telling that they've been unsubscribed. Now, YouTube has come out with several statements saying that they push out all notifications, and anytime that you're subscribed, you stay that way. They don't automatically unsubscribe you. Me personally, it's happened to me personally. Okay, there's channels that I have my notifications set on, and I know what time they go live, and I'm thinking, damn, I didn't get my notification. And I have to look, I have to go on their channel. It doesn't even pop up on my recommendations page or my timeline. I have to actually go to their channel and then find out that they're live. I'm like, okay, I'm going out of my way when I had the notification. So if you guys didn't give me the notification, at least it should be the first thing I see on my timeline, but it's not. So that's why it's important to make sure you guys hit that notification bell, and around the times I go live, check in to make sure you hit that double notify me button, because that way you make sure that you guys get that too. And that's why I say with the social media, if you guys are following me on social media, you guys will be able to see it, because I post on social media every single time I go live or I premiere a video. So that's important. All right. Hey, you say Tariq's notifications never come across? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that happens. That happened a couple times. There's a lot of times that I find out Tariq is live through Twitter. I don't really find it out through YouTube. I think that's been that way for the last like year or so. I don't think I find it out through YouTube at all. Or Jason Black, to be honest. Now I think about it, I got to find out through Twitter, Jason has a very set schedule, so I kind of know what time to be on YouTube. Tariq, maybe here or there. It's around the ballpark, but I pretty much find out through Twitter for the most part. You guys can also, if it helps, you guys can also set a notification on Twitter too. So that way, when they post or whatever, you guys would know, because you can set that up on Twitter. But with that being said, brothers and sisters, I'm going to get off here. You all have a good one. we are actually making a difference with this whole case. They're trying to capitalize off it. It won't work for either one of them, to be honest. For either side, it won't work because we're too on code for it to work. They can pull out all the coons they want to. They can pull out all the tethers they want to. It ain't gonna matter. It ain't gonna make no difference. It's not. Okay. Brothers and sisters, y'all be safe out there. We're putting in some good work. Thank you guys very much for being here. Thank you guys very much for subscribing and staying with us. I will catch you guys. I'm gonna have another video out tomorrow. It's gonna premiere tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time. So y'all be there for that. With that being said, B1 salute to you all. Y'all have a good one.